Hey there fellow YouTube enthusiasts, welcome back to Modern Aroma Reviews. My name is Chris and today I'm going to show you how to make your own DIY e-liquid. But first, let's dive down and look at some of the key things we're going to need to make this awesome juice. Alright guys, let's take a look at some of the key essential things you'll need for making your own DIY liquid. The first thing I've got to tell you that you do absolutely need are gloves. You have to have gloves. You have to have them. If you don't have gloves, stop the video now, go get you some gloves, and come back and restart the video because you won't be able to do anything with that nicotine back there until you have your gloves. Now, I would recommend nitrile gloves, spelled Nitrile. However, I have just on hand some vinyl gloves. They're non-permeable. I don't plan on working with nicotine for too very long, so I'm not going to give it any time for absorption. As for measuring devices, if you're making your own e-liquid, if you're making just anything less than 100 milliliters, simple syringes like this is a 30 ml syringe, a small 3 milliliter syringe, and then I have a 10 ml syringe. As for what goes on your syringes, I recommend you use blunt nose syringe needles. These happen to not be blunt nose syringe needles. These do have a point to them. You can see a little dot of flavoring there. And I have a smaller one here. I'll be using this one for the nicotine today. I don't like using these needles for nicotine. However, I'm going to use it today because I had a blunt nose needle break on me earlier today and that was my last one. As for larger measurements, I do have these 125 milliliter bottles that I keep my PG and my VG in, because as you can see, these big 1 liter bottles over here, they tend to be very hard to work with, especially the VG, which is very thick. It's got a very high viscosity, so it's very hard to move around. Actually, it took near all of my strength to pull 30 mLs of VG out of there using this syringe. So I do recommend you use funnels or some type of easy way of moving that VG into your bottles. Then there's flavoring. I have 4 flavors here from myfreedomsmokes.com. I have this one's vanilla custard, guava, what is this guy here? Tropical cream breeze. Haven't had a chance to try him yet. Probably do it today. Then there's the apple pie. I do want to try him, but I'll save him for a rainy day. And then lastly, your nicotine. Now, guys, I do have to stress the utmost security when using nicotine. You don't want this on your skin. I'm actually very cautious handling it now, just because I know that there's a possibility that there might be some on the rim down there near that plastic, because I haven't taken that plastic off yet, so I'm not going to touch that part with my hands. It comes in different strengths at myfreedomsmokes.com. You can get it in different strengths and you can get it in different ratios of VG and PG. Mine is 100% PG because I just like to mix that way. And then of course you'll need a bottle to hold your finished product in. This is just a regular 30 ml dripper bottle. Now that we've got these things out of the way, let's don some protective gear and we'll mix some liquid. Now, I like to keep a method to how I make my e-liquid in certain stages. I'm going to break those down for you. I'm setting my syringes over here, down here behind my camera. I have them all sitting on a piece of paper towel to keep juices and things from running everywhere. As for the nicotine bottle itself, I'm going to use one of these. This is basically just a piece of paper towel folded in half over a small foam plate. And this is going to be a precaution just in case I spill this nicotine and it has somewhere to land and not spread. So let's get this guy unscrewed. But first off, make sure he's tight. But first off, let's give him just a gentle little shake here. Just back and forth. So we did give him a shake. Let's open him up. He does have a very strong child cap, so be careful. Lift him up and away. Like that. I'm going to sit him down. Now chances are you probably have some nicotine on your gloves. So now is not the time to apply makeup or scratch to your nose or, I don't know, scratch your butt or your balls or something. That would be a very bad idea. As you can probably see, I have it on my fingers already. The next step is to prepare our syringe. I'm going to be using the 3 ml syringe this time. And I'm going to use the small needle. And these guys just simply screw on. Never take the needle out of the plastic case if it's not attached to the syringe. Simple common sense, guys. When you pull this case off, this hand does not go anywhere near this point, ever. Case is off. I'm going to set him right here next to the bottle. And we need just under a milliliter of nicotine. I'm going to pull up past 1 and then push down a little bit to just under 1. If you've ever seen people do this, they do it for a reason. I'm trying to get all of these air bubbles to the top. It's just a little under what I want, but I'm going to keep it. Alright, so I've safely put the cap back onto my bottle of nicotine. I've broken down my syringe for cleaning. In a perfect world, always throw out your syringes and replace them. It's just a safety precaution. Me personally, I'm going to throw away the needle, but I'm going to keep the syringe. Alright guys, each flavoring bottle comes with one of these little needle nose style dispensing caps. However, I don't like measuring in drops. I think it's too inaccurate. So I just broke this guy off. I'm actually going to use a syringe to dose out my flavoring. Alright, next up is the 10 ml syringe. See that? 10 ml syringe with the longer style needle. And he just connects in, screws in. Make sure he's snug but not too tight, just like you would with any screw on your RDA. Alright, now I'm going to extract 3 mLs of flavoring. Pull him up just past 3 and then push back down to 3. And then he goes into the bottle. Next up is 5 mLs of PG, which I just pulled out of the bottle back there. Now for VG, since I know this is a 30 ml bottle and I have everything else in there, all I need left is VG. I just need to fill it up to the shoulder here, and that should give me just about 21 mLs of juice, or 21 mLs of VG. I also think it helps to mix some of the flavoring and nicotine in before you give it a shake. I'm going to cap them up, lit them up, and then we're just going to shake the shit out of them. I'm actually going to do this back here. Alright guys, here we go. You can see there's a very light color to it because the flavoring wasn't very bright to begin with, but you can see a little air bubbles in there from where I shook them up. Now I'm not going to vape him right away. What I'm going to do is let him sit and mellow out for a couple hours, and I'm going to pop the cap on him and let him sit out in the air for a couple days for it to steep so that all the flavors kind of mingle with each other and get the best possible flavoring. Alright guys, I'm back, and it's been about a week that I've let this guy sit opened on my counter away from the light for it to steep, and it's chucking flavor. Or should I say chucking aroma. And you see, it performs just like any other liquid. It's identical to any other liquid made in a manufacturing facility. The only difference is you make it here at your house, and it's cheaper. All in all, it's cheaper. For the amount of money that I would spend to go and buy 100 mLs worth of juice, I went and bought 2 liters with the VG and PG and the necessary stuff to make it. So if you want to save money but still have great flavor and still have great e-juice, make your own. It's honestly not that hard. It took me less than a half hour to make that blend there, and maybe a week or so to let it sit. You can build it in batches, have it set off to the side to where you always have a perfectly steeped bottle of juice ready for you in the morning before you go to work, or just during the day, throughout the day. Now there are some precautions and there are some warnings I do have to go over with you. Number one, please, 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 for the sake of safety, use gloves. If you're messing with nicotine, you should have gloves on. You should also know how much you're going to use prior to even touching your nicotine bottle. Always prep your station to where when you get down to using your nicotine, you can do it professionally and you can do it safely. So I always recommend you use the blunt nose needles at all times. If possible, stay away from the actual sharp pointed needles. Find smaller bottles. 125 milliliter bottles I use to contain my PG, my VG in. I use those just because it's so hard to pull from the 1 liter bottles, and it's just easier. It's less mess, it's less things you have to deal with, it's smaller packages so you don't have to worry about picking up those giant 1 liter bottles. They're heavy. They are heavy. Use a calculator. That's my third one. Use a calculator. I do my calculator and then I sit down and I do the math myself to make sure I got it right, so I'm not poisoning myself or I'm not adding too much nicotine or VG or PG, and I'm getting the right blend. So always use them. They're out there. They're everywhere. Steam Engine is a good app. Not only does it have a calculator for your e-juice recipes, but it also has a calculator for building coils. It also has battery calculators. It has everything you could possibly want for your vaping needs. And that's it, guys. That's all you really need. Safety-wise, gloves, blunt nose needles, correct measuring devices. Flavor-wise, that's all up to you. Pick whatever flavor you want. Make sure you always have good quality ingredients, good VG, good PG, and a reliable source. And I'll post all of my products that I bought down in the description so that you can get a glimpse of what I use on a daily basis. I hope you had an awesome time watching this video. Get out there and make your own juice. And remember, love the aroma. It's even better when you make it yourself.